Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Nona from thealignedlover.com. I have another video in my series in which I explore some possible connections and patterns between cognitive type and style. Today we are looking at the INFP and the ISFP. Alright, before we get into the examples, disclaimer, I use only one database, and that is the database from Voltology.com. This system is different from MBTI, it's different from Socionics, it's different from whatever result you're going to get from those very biased online quizzes. It's just its own distinct system, and the system is based on deducing cognitive functions, information metabolism from physical gestures like micro-expressions, mannerisms, the way one speaks. It's fascinating. Check it out. And what I really love about it is the contributors are all certified, so it's a lot more consistent. All right, our first group is going to be the INFP, and it's really interesting to kind of compare this group to the ENFP, which I did a video on a few months ago. They're both kind of like intertwined in this twee world where the ENFP is like super twee and the INFP is like twee light plus like manic pixie dream girl, if that makes sense. The INFP just has a little bit more of an edge to it from what I have observed, and the ENFP is a little bit more inner child, kindergarten teacher in the best way possible. So it's worth checking out the other video if you are into looking at style comparisons, which I assume you are because you are my channel. Anyways, with the INFP, we are seeing this emphasis on personal expression and drawing from eclectic sources. So Olivia Cook, great example of that. She pulls from various bygone eras, gives them a fresh, oversized, and spunky, chunky twist. She loves a bold upper silhouette, fun shoes, long lines. She likes to mix more conventionally feminine details with more conventionally masculine details. Alright, next up we have Mia Goth, a lot of eclectic outfits, a mixed bag, very fresh, lots of little details are exaggerated. It gives it a very exciting vibe, but she still looks great in outfits that are cohesive. So I'm gonna call this one like the thrift store chosen ones, the type of person who would go into a thrift store and just like get all of the golden bright rays from the thrift gods and come out looking like they dressed for an editorial. And you could try to wear their outfits, but it just wouldn't be the same. Lastly, we have adorable Rose Byrne. She's a bit more classic and subdued with her clothing, but she still has that kind of like twee light thing going on. She looks great in like sweet, perky, slightly quaint outfits that are far from modern. Mixed textures, adorable patterns. Even when she's wearing something a little bit more casual and modern, like a sweatshirt and wide cropped pants, there's still something very cute and adorable about it. Alright, so onto the ISFPs. The ISFPs have SE in the second slot, and what I've seen from looking at a whole bunch of these types is that SE gives a more sensual, kind of like side glance, sexy, playful, in-your-face kind of energy. So with Aubrey, we're seeing vintage-leaning outfits that are still a little bit exaggerated in some way, whether it's a shorter hem, an exaggerated neckline, some cute ruffle sleeves, something that pops up and is very vintage leaning in a sense. But we're seeing a little bit more of that seductiveness, less spunky, chunky twee, and more sexy. It's like if you give proper or almost slightly formal clothes a winky, cheeky touch. And it's just fun to look at the difference between her and ENTP Elizabeth Olsen. Check out the video she's in my playlist. They just look so different. The dress just shines on Aubrey, and Elizabeth, who's equally beautiful, just looks out of place. I think the dress is just a little bit too sparkly and busy for her. Right, next up we have Lana Del Rey. I don't think she needs much of an introduction or explanation. Her style is pretty sensual, girlish, lacy, sweetly seductive. She's like a vintage baby doll fever dream. She was off very strong vintage First Lady vibes, or even vintage Mistress Lady vibes. See her video National Anthem. If you think about how like politicians from a few decades ago were a little bit more scandalous, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting, especially if you think about it in a more theatrical kind of way, how we portray that in movies and media. That's the politician pinup energy that I'm getting. So, I mean, Lana Del Rey is an amazing example of this feel and this vibe that I get from the ISFP, because that's what this whole series is. It's trying to touch upon the essence, bridging people who have the same type. So it can be a little bit hard to concentrate it into just a few pieces or outfits, but I hope you are picking up what I'm putting down. And funnily enough, speaking of First Lady or politician beauties, we have actual First Lady Jackie O and Natalie Portman, who played Jackie O. Their style is a little bit more classic and subdued, but they still have that kind of elegant, effervescent vibe. They're not super stern and cold or minimalist in their clothing, despite looking so proper and appropriate. There's still something quite free and cheeky and sensual about their styles. And you have to put it into context, you know, this is like from a long time ago when I would say mini skirts were still taking off. So just keep that in mind. We're seeing, again, those exaggerated details that make them so fun, like with this giant roll cowl collar thing going on, or the very exaggerated shape of this shift dress. It's clear, but it's also a little bit cheeky, if that makes sense. It's like impactful, subtly sexy. Alright, and if I had to make a few outfits real quick for these two types, the INFP is getting like a thrift store style vintage pattern dress and junky boots, or a graphic vintage tee, corduroy pants, Mary Jane's, and a fun little scarf. The ISFP, if you want them to look a little bit more proper, a silky top, high-waisted tapered pants, and sexy, clean slingback heels, or a more fun ruffle mock neck mini dress with really big heels. Alright, that was it for today's video. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, if you would like some highly personalized style services, please check out my site, thealignedlover.com. Bye.